Meghan Markle and Prince Harry put out another video. This time it was from when she was in the hospital having a baby. Of course, she's dancing around and it looks kind of weird, and we all feel weird about that. But there are other things in there that are odd as well. Something's not right in here. And your brain feels that as well. That's why you can't quit watching it. But there are things in there that are missing. I'm going to tell you what those things are, and you'll have a better understanding of why you feel the way you do when you watch this, because something isn't right here. We're not seeing stress. We're not seeing anything that shows us she's suffering from anxiety during this. We don't see anything that tells us she's worried about the pain that's right around the corner when she starts having a baby. Look at these expressions. Does that look like somebody who's worried and getting ready to go through the worst pain in their whole life? No. Does this look like a husband who is worried about his wife? Somebody who wants to connect with her to help her calm down, help get that anxiety lowered? No. There are a couple of more things in here that really bother me. And I'm not saying she didn't have that baby. I'm not saying she wasn't pregnant, but I'm saying it sure looks suspicious to me from what she's doing in this video that tell me something's not right here. Not just her facial expressions that aren't correct here, that should be there that aren't. Not just because her arms are far away from her body, and when you're in this kind of situation, your arms are really close to your body because you're worried. You're trying to self-soothe, so you keep your arms close to your torso. I'm not talking about the eye contact that should be there between those two. I'm not talking about the lack of personal items that should be laying around that have been in every hospital room or delivery room when someone's getting ready to have a baby. They've got their stuff everywhere because they don't know how long they're going to be there. He doesn't look concerned, not even a little bit. He's not trying to connect with her. He's not worried about her. She's not worried about her. When you're in a situation like this and you're afraid and you're really stressed and there's a lot of anxiety, the last thing you want to hear is something loud, like loud music. Usually when you go into a situation like this, it's very calm music when it's playing. It could be classical music or, your favorite artist who is really mellow. So none of that here. This is really loud in there. That's coming from the phone, but comparatively, it would be loud. And you usually don't want to hear loud stuff or dance music when you get ready to have a baby. The stress is too high. My experience with having a baby is zero. Never had one. I've looked like I was going to have one, like before I lost a bunch of weight. But there's nothing here that says she's having a baby except having that big stomach and then being in a delivery room. But let's look at the stomach. This doesn't look right to me. Like I said before, I'm not saying she's not pregnant. I'm not saying this is fake. I'm just saying it looks odd to me. When she starts bending that baby upward, her stomach, when she starts doing that, that doesn't look like it's attached to her body. Because when you bend over like that, your stomach should not come up that high. It doesn't do it. If you've had a baby, you'll know what I'm talking about. That should not be happening. Another thing that bothers me in here, look at her right hand as we go through this. What does that thing do? It's hardly touching her stomach where the baby is. It's that left hand that's doing all the work over there, lifting that thing up. You do see these things on her. She's got monitors on her stomach. That's totally normal because you want to know what's going on in there, right? So granted, if that is a real baby in there, or if she really is pregnant, that's okay. It's supposed to look that way. It looks odd. But why would she not have both hands on that? Because watch, her right hand barely slides back and forth, up and down on the side of her stomach. It's barely touching it. That to me is odd. I know you can look at that and go, well, it's one of those things. Nope, that's not one of those things. That's a lot of weight that you would be pulling up, a lot of weight. And especially with your skin and it's attached to your body. And it's uncomfortable when you do that. So this doesn't look right, not only from a perspective of body language, but psychologically, she shouldn't be doing that. But what's going on with that hand? Why is she just barely rubbing that hand in there? Now let's talk about Prince Harry. He doesn't look worried at all. He's going back and forth doing that nerd dance he's doing, not trying to connect with her. He's not concerned about her. There's no worry there. There's no stress there. He's not going, oh my goodness, this is not good. I'm worried. I'm really stressed. I should be trying to calm her down. If they did Lamaze or anything, shouldn't that be going on? Shouldn't she be having contractions? Unless, of course, they plan to have the baby on this day, which a lot of people do now. You make an appointment, say, I'm going to have it on the 26th. And on the 26th, you show up and they induce labor. So that could be happening. But still, it's going to hurt. And neither one of them look like they're thinking about that pain that's right around the corner. When she does that squat, that's got to be really, really uncomfortable because that's going to be tough to do when you're in that situation. Like I said before, I've never been pregnant, but I know this isn't right. You know this isn't right. And your brain is saying, something's not right here. So let's go over the things that we've seen that tell us something's not right here. Number one, the facial expressions we should be seeing on her and him. They're missing. Stress, anxiety, worry. We should be seeing not a frown, but we should be seeing those eyebrows coming in here and up here just a little bit. It's almost like the grief muscle because you're worried about pain and you're thinking about pain, but it's not the grief muscle. But you do see the glabella, which is this group of muscles here, come together. We're not seeing that, not even a little bit of that. That shows us she's worried. She's smiling. And what we're seeing with that smile is called, or what I've coined, extra face. My brother writes TV shows and movies. One time I was at a TV show and he was directing it. And he said, cut. And he said, hey, I was talking to these people in the background because it was a restaurant scene. And he said, listen, quit doing all these big hand gestures and movements. These facial expressions are really too big. Dial it down a notch because it doesn't look natural. Because people were back there were going, because that's the way they were trying. They weren't really talking. They were just trying to communicate without talking. So it looks weird. And you get this really weird look on your face. Even though he would tell them to settle down, dial it down some, they would still sit there like this. And you'll see it in movies and TV shows now when somebody's on TV or online, on Netflix, anything. Not all the time because they're pretty much getting a handle on that now. But man, keep an eye on that because people are using what's called extra face. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now look at him dancing around. Not only is that just like the nerdiest thing you've ever seen in your whole life, it's just not right because he would be worried about her, or he should be worried about her. He should be concerned. We can't see a very good shot of his face, but boy, we sure can't see some good shots of her face. We don't see any concern in there. We don't see any grief in there. We don't see any worry in there. We don't see any anxiety in there. I'm repeating these same things because it's all over this video. And your brain sees that and says, what's not right about this? Because you've got a situation over here that calls for stress and anxiety. And you've got people in that situation that show zero stress and zero anxiety. And your brain goes, that's not right. You don't compute that correctly and go, oh, I know what's happening here. Because you're used to seeing people be in that situation where they are feeling stress and anxiety and they have a look on their face. In my job, I look for things like that. That's why it's so easy for me to go, yeah, here's what you're missing. But it's really simple, but that's what's missing. That's what makes you feel that way. Call it gut feeling or woman's intuition, whatever. It's your brain seeing it, not being able to tell you what it is. It just knows something's wrong. That's what gives you that feeling. Again, when she's pulling that baby up pulling it upward, and that top part of the baby there, that doesn't look connected to me. In real life, that whole thing is connected there because it's part of her stomach and part of the front part of her body. And it doesn't fold up like that quickly and that easily. And it's not light. It's not light. It weighs a lot. That's not right. And then again, she's just pushing up with the one hand and doing all that work with one hand while her right hand just rubs the bottom of that, just barely touching it. That's not right. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying, boy, that sure looks fake to me. And it does to me. May not be fake, probably not. But it looks fake to me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I really want to know. This is bugging me to death. I can't believe they did this. That somebody would be able to do this and then go out in the wild and go, oh, I had a baby. You can look what we did online. You can see it on Instagram. I can't believe it. Dr. G and I did a thing with Kinsey Schofield on her channel. And we broke this down, not just from body language, but from a psychological perspective as to what he pretty much handled. And it might be an hour long, but we talked about a lot of things in detail. We got into a lot more detail here than we do over there from a body language perspective. But I think you'll like that. Kinsey Schofield, she gets deep into that too. She's all up into the prince and the princess or whatever they are now. I don't know. I don't think they're prince and princess anymore. I don't follow this stuff, so I don't know. But when people send me this video, stuff like this, man, I can't help but want to tell you about it. I'll tell you what I'm seeing from my body language perspective. All right. If you have any questions about body language, just let me know. Send them to bodylanguagequestions@gmail.com, and I'll get right on it.